If you asked my parents to describe their children at any family dinner, you'd hear something like, Emily? Oh, she's the achiever. Valedictorian? MBA. Works in strategy consulting, whatever that means. Then, after an uncomfortable pause and a sip of wine. And Zach? Well, he's good with computers. I've been good with computers since I was 10 and figured out how to unlock my dad's password-protected spreadsheet full of fantasy football stats. He grounded me for 3 weeks. But at every party after that, he proudly introduced me as our little hacker. So, naturally, my entire identity became Zach the IT guy, whether I wanted it or not. It didn't matter that I taught myself to code by reverse engineering online games, or that I could fix a bricked motherboard with tweezers and blind hope, or that I built an app in high school that our local bakery still uses to track inventory, all for a $25 Panera gift card. None of that meant anything compared to Emily's LinkedIn posts about disrupting the future of logistics and empowering cross-functional innovation, whatever that means. Let me be clear, Emily's not evil. She's just engineered for applause. Everything she does is optimized for maximum praise. School awards? Photocopied and framed. New job? Announced with a Canva infographic. Got stuck in an elevator once? Turned it into a viral thread about resilience. Me? I once posted a meme about Wi-Fi passwords and lost 4 followers. And the thing is, I didn't even resent her. Not really. I just got used to the idea that, in my family, utility was my love language. You fix the printer, you get a thank you. You install the router? You get dinner leftovers. That's it. So when Emily dropped off her laptop one Saturday morning with a casual, "Hey, can you look at this? It's making this weird clicky sound and I have a strategy call in like 2 hours." I didn't question it. I just nodded, took the laptop, and started diagnosing while she scrolled through Instagram on my couch like it was her emotional support chaise lounge. The laptop was a mess. Dust caked inside. A dying hard drive. Software updates overdue by, let's just say the Obama administration was still in office the last time she restarted it properly. I spent 2 hours cleaning, backing up, swapping in a new SSD, reinstalling her apps, and organizing her desktop so it didn't look like a digital junkyard. I even replaced her charging cable because hers had been held together by hope and scotch tape. When I handed it back, she barely looked up. "Thanks. You're, like, super useful." I blinked. "That's it." She smiled like she was giving me a compliment. "I mean it. You're useful. Not impressive. But useful." Then she left. No thank you note. No. "Wow, you saved my life." Just that smug little nod people give the barista when their coffee order is correct. Useful. Not impressive. I didn't say anything. Didn't snap back. I just sat on the edge of my coffee table, holding her old charger like it was a severed tether to the last shred of dignity I had left. Because that was the moment it hit me. I'd spent years giving away my skills like they were party favors, friends, family, neighbors who needed tech help, all coming to me with their cracked screens and, "Why is my Wi-Fi slow?" texts. I helped because it felt good to be needed. But now it just felt like everyone had me filed under Zach, functional appliance. No one cared how much I knew, or how hard I worked, or that I was trying to launch a freelance gig fixing real back-end systems, not just resetting Aunt Marlene's Facebook password. They just knew I'd say yes, and show up, and do it for free. That night I couldn't sleep. Not because I was angry, though yeah, I kind of was, but because something inside me shifted. Some flicker of a thought I hadn't let myself believe in years. What if I stopped being useful for free? What if, instead of fixing Emily's mess for compliments she didn't mean, I focused on people who actually saw what I could do? I didn't know what that looked like yet, but I knew I was done with unpaid tech therapy. So I rewrote my freelance site, rebuilt my portfolio, reposted my availability on a couple forums, even added emergency weekend support, but this time with a rate. It was 2:13 a.m. when the first email came in. Subject line: server down. Urgent. From a name I didn't recognize. But that email? That was the start of everything. The email was short, frantic, and written like someone had just spilled Red Bull on their keyboard. Subject: server down. Urgent. Found your profile on Freelance Tech now. Internal servers dead. Locked out of everything. CTO is spiraling. Can you help tonight? Will pay. Please respond. Sign. Sean D. No last name. No company. Just desperation. Normally, I'd wait till morning. But something about the chaos felt different. Like, finally, someone was treating tech failure like the emergency it usually is. So I called. Second ring. Zach? Depends, I said. Is this a server fire or a metaphorical fire? A breath of relief on the other end. You're real. Good. Please come. He gave me the address, a co-working space downtown, and said the door would be open. I packed my kit, grabbed a hoodie, and left. The building was barely lit, the kind of startup dungeon with exposed brick, free LaCroix, and a ficus on life support. Unit 207 had its door propped open with a portable whiteboard that said, "Hustle harder." Inside, 5 people, 2 laptops, 1 blinking server rack, and a guy in a beanbag muttering affirmations to a UPS battery. Zach? Someone asked. I nodded. You must be Sean. He looked like the physical manifestation of a group text, hair wild, hoodie half-zipped, and holding 2 phones like a hostage negotiator. I don't even care if you fix it. Just knowing someone showed up is huge. Cool, I said. That's not alarming at all. A few chuckles. Good sign. I crouched next to the rack-mounted server and said, Walk me through what happened. No jargon. Pretend you're explaining it to your mom. Sean gestured wildly. We pushed a dashboard update. Everything froze. Backups glitched. We lost admin access and the dev environment died. We're presenting to investors next week. Everything's broken. So you tried to update your outfit, I said, booting from a recovery stick, and accidentally set your closet on fire. Someone handed me a soda. I didn't drink it, I needed both hands, but the gesture was weirdly respectful. Over the next few hours, I isolated the corrupted boot sector, reset admin privileges, restored backups, and rerouted them to cloud redundancy with actual alerts this time. Not flawless, but clean. At 2:14 a.m., the dashboard came back. The team let out a collective gasp like I just defibrillated their startup. The guy from the beanbag clapped. Someone else handed me a cold sandwich and said, Welcome back from the trenches. I took a bite. Not gourmet. But it tasted like validation. Sean sat next to me on the desk edge, his energy shifted from freaking out to gratefully exhausted. I'm sending you double, he said. And if you're open to it, we've got more work. Not just emergencies. Real stuff. I blinked. Yeah. I'm open. We exchanged info. And as I packed up and left, something stuck with me, not the adrenaline, or even the money. It was the silence. The good kind. No one made me feel like a vending machine for tech fixes. No one handed me guilt in exchange for gratitude. They saw me work. They paid me. They respected it. This wasn't like fixing Emily's laptop or installing Mom's smart TV. This felt like the first time someone thought what I did was impressive. 3 days after I brought Sean's server back from the dead, I got a text at 6:42 a.m. Sean, startup chaos. Yo. You awake? Also, do you do front-end cleanup? Our UI guy rage quit. I blinked at my phone. Then again. I wasn't sure which part to address first, the fact that I had a saved contact for someone labeled Startup Chaos, or that I apparently had a job offer before coffee. I typed back. Technically awake. Depends how bad the UI is. And yes, I do cleanup. I basically majored in cleanup. 30 seconds later, my phone rang. Hey, Sean said, voice already in 5th gear. We need someone who doesn't panic, can read garbage code, and doesn't think debugging is beneath them. That's my whole personality, I said. What happened to your UI guy? He said the color scheme didn't vibe with his creative flow and quit in the middle of pushing a commit. I've never wanted to throw someone into a server rack more. I shrugged on a hoodie. Send me the files. He did. And he also Venmo'd me before I started, like a real adult. I nearly wept. I spent the next 5 hours in flow state. Their front-end code was heinous. Inline styles nested like Russian dolls, inconsistent classes, a rogue dark mode toggle that straight up turned the footer into Comic Sans. But I loved it. This was my zone. My version of a spa day. When I sent it back, Sean replied with, "Dude, it looks human now. Also, can we talk about something?" I paused. Sat up. That's the text you get before a breakup or a job offer. We met at a Vietnamese place a few blocks from my apartment. Sean showed up in the same hoodie I'd seen him wear on server night, which confirmed two things. He definitely lived in that thing. This wasn't a corporate meeting. It was something else. He ordered a banh mi, 2 spring rolls, and no drink. Hydration is a scam. And got right into it. "So," he said, unwrapping his sandwich like it contained state secrets. "Our team's not exactly traditional. You've probably figured that out." "You mean the CTO who speaks to power strips?" Sean nodded solemnly. "That's Jake. He's also our security lead. Don't let the whispering fool you. He once spotted a data breach using nothing but a gut feeling and a weird log file timestamp." I smiled. "Respect. We've burned through like 4 freelancers in 6 months. Most want portfolio credit and to collab on product vision. You just show up and fix things. We need that. Not glam. Just glue. Glam versus glue." He didn't mean it as a compliment. But it was the nicest thing anyone had said to me in a long time. He continued, "We're building something that might actually take off. Early stage startup, seed funding landed last quarter, we're in the prep phase for Series A. We need someone technical, flexible, and too busy working to post vague quotes on LinkedIn. I don't own a ring light," I said. "So I qualify." He leaned in. "We're not offering full-time yet. Not until we close this round. But retainer work. Recurring. You'd be our go-to." I didn't answer right away. Not because I was unsure, but because I didn't want to seem too eager. Which was stupid. Because I was eager. For the first time in forever, someone was inviting me to build, not just patch. "I'm in," I said. Sean smiled, offered a fist bump, and said, "Let's break stuff, then make it better." When I got home, I sat on my bed and just stared at my ceiling. It wasn't a full-time job. It wasn't flashy. But it was the first time I was picked. Not guilt-tripped. Not begged. Not cornered at a family party by Uncle Terry with a cracked iPhone and a sad story about how he dropped it. Near soup. Picked. For something that mattered. And the weirdest part? I didn't feel imposter syndrome. I felt ready. 3 weeks into the new gig, my kitchen table looked like a cross between a war room and a charging station. Sticky notes, Ethernet cables, and exactly 2 mugs of half-drunk coffee I kept forgetting to finish. I'd never been busier, and never felt more useful. Not Emily's version of useful, like, "Thanks for resetting my Wi-Fi, now can you leave before my book club shows up?" This was real. Tasked. Paid. Respected. Sean would shoot me a message like, "Can you fix the auth issue on the user dashboard?" And just trust me to do it. Number 47 slide pitch deck. No micromanaging. Just, "Here's the problem, go." The team was weird in the best way. Jake, yes, the CTO who once whispered to a battery, turned out to be a cybersecurity savant who could sniff out malware faster than antivirus software. The designer, April, called herself aggressively minimal, which meant she refused to use drop shadows on principle. And Sean? He was chaos in a hoodie, but he listened. He delegated. He never once told me I was lucky to be included. The money wasn't wild, but it was steady. And for the first time, I started saying, "I've got a client meeting," without flinching. It felt less like a lie and more like, maybe this was just my life now. But of course, peace is a magnet for family interference. It started with a group chat ping from Mom. Family chat pie. "Mom. Hey Zachy. Emily said she hasn't heard from you in a bit. Everything okay?" Mom, you still doing your computer things? Mom, Uncle Darren needs help transferring photos from his laptop to his iPad. Can I give him your number? I stared at my phone like it had insulted my intelligence. Emily hadn't heard from me, as if I was the one who ghosted after she called me useful, not impressive, and left me holding her busted charger like a prize for participation. I didn't respond right away. I thought about how just a month ago, I would have jumped at the chance to prove myself again. I'd have said yes. Helped Uncle Darren migrate his 6,000 photos of boats and barbecue tongs. Then maybe, someone would mention me kindly at dinner. Not anymore. I typed, "Hey Mom. Super busy this month, big project deadlines. Can't take on side tech stuff right now. Hope Darren figures it out." No emoji. No apology. She left me on read for 2 days. When she finally replied, it was just, "Oh. Okay." Translation: How dare you set a boundary, traitor? Meanwhile, back at Startup Land, we were in full sprint mode. Demo day was coming up. The team was prepping the platform, running stress tests, patching bugs like digital whack-a-mole. I offered to help with the back-end caching system, and Jake, yes, the Whisperer, handed me full access without hesitation. "You've got good instincts," he said. "Better than most people we've paid 10 times more." That sentence lived in my chest rent-free for a week. And then something weird happened. Emily texted me. "Emily. Hey. Quick Q, what was the name of that server thing you fixed the other day?" "No." "Hi." "No." "Sorry I called you unimpressive and dipped." Just that. I stared at the message, wondering how she even knew. Had Mom said something? Did she see a post? Or was this just one of her usual info grabs disguised as connection? I replied. "The thing I fixed had 6 layers and 300 lines of bad code. You'll need to be more specific." She hit me with the classic, "LOL, never mind." And I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because for once, she was the one without answers. That night, I pushed my last code commit and shut my laptop early. I sat on the couch with actual food, not just chips and air, and scrolled through job boards. Not because I needed one. Because I was curious. Because I had options. And as wild as it sounded, I started thinking about my rates again. Not what I could charge. But what I should. I wasn't scrambling to seem impressive anymore. I just was. Quietly. Steadily. And with receipts. I never posted on LinkedIn. It always felt like yelling into a boardroom full of people who clapped at pie charts. Plus, I didn't have anything worth humble bragging about. That changed when Sean messaged me one morning. "Hey, we're tagging contributors in the post about our demo launch. You cool with that?" I hesitated. Not because I was hiding, but because I knew what tagging meant. It meant visibility. And visibility meant certain people might crawl out of the woodwork. But I said yes. The post went live the next day. A screenshot of our slick new dashboard, some startup jargon, and then, right there in bold, "Big thanks to Zach B. for stepping in and making the impossible happen." I didn't think much of it, until my phone started buzzing. An old classmate liked the post. Then a guy I hadn't seen since freshman year econ. Then my mom. Wait. My mom? I opened the app and checked. Yep. There she was. No comment. No like. Just viewed my profile. Then came the cherry on top. Emily. Emily viewed my LinkedIn profile. Twice. You know how some people are stealthy lurkers? Not Emily. She's the kind who clicks through like she's shopping for intel. I stared at the screen, almost laughing. This woman once told me that freelancing is just unemployment with a Wi-Fi password. Now she was creeping my page like it held trade secrets. That weekend, Mom called. Not texted. Not group chatted. Called. "Hi, honey," she sang, like we hadn't barely spoken in weeks. "Just wanted to check in. How's the computer work?" I let the silence hang a beat too long. "It's going well. I saw something online. You were mentioned, in a post. From a company?" "Yeah," I said casually. "Startup I've been working with." Oh, that's wow. Is that like full-time now? Nope. Contract. But they treat me well. She didn't know what to do with that. No 401k? No dental plan? How could I possibly be content? Then she dropped the real question. Emily said she was surprised to see that. She thought you were still doing those little projects for friends. Ah, there it was. I smiled. Tell her things change. A few days later, I went over to my parents' place for dinner. First time in months. Emily was already there, of course. Perched at the dining room table with her laptop open like a judge presiding over the dinner rolls. She didn't look up when I came in. Just, oh, hey. I sat down, said nothing. 15 minutes in, during salad, she dropped it casually. So, how long have you been working with Sean? I blinked. Since the server crash, I said. She looked surprised I didn't try to deny it. Didn't know you did infrastructure. I shrugged. Didn't know you checked my profile twice in 24 hours. She flushed. Not a lot. Just enough to clock it. I was just curious, she muttered. Sure, I said. Curiosity's healthy. Dad cleared his throat. Zach's been doing really well lately. Right, son? That was new. Praise at a dinner table from him? What timeline was this? Emily stabbed her lettuce like it owed her money. After dinner, she pulled me aside. Look, she said. I know we don't talk much. But Sean's company, they're legit? They are. And you're working with them, like on real stuff? Yep. She looked almost lost. But how did that ever happen? I showed up, I said. Did the work. Didn't ask for applause. She didn't respond. Just stared at me like she was trying to relearn who I was. And honestly, that was fine with me. The next message came 3 days later. Not from Sean. Not from my mom. From Emily. Hey. Got a sec? I stared at it for a solid minute. We weren't. Got a sec. People. We were more. See you twice a year and pretend we don't remember middle school. People. I replied. What's up? 10 seconds later. Can we meet for coffee? I debated. On one hand, every previous meeting had ended in her asking me to fix something, pay for something, or give her my Netflix password because you don't use it anyway. On the other, curiosity. And okay, a little petty satisfaction. So I said yes. We met at some trendy cafe she liked, where the cappuccinos had leaf art and the chairs were designed by someone who hated backs. She showed up in her usual business casual armor, blazer, blouse, subtle heels, like she was about to audit the entire building. I showed up in a hoodie and jeans with a coffee stain that told the story of my 8 a.m. bug fix. Thanks for meeting, she said. No worries, I said, sipping something overpriced. She cut to the chase. So, I've been freelancing a bit too. Consulting on the side. A startup reached out to me about brand strategy, and they mentioned your name. My eyebrows went up. Yeah? Yeah. They said you came highly recommended, that you've been helping build their back end, and that the system actually runs smoothly now. Sounds like me. She hesitated. Then she said the words I never expected from her mouth. They asked if I wanted to come on for a rebrand project. But I realized I don't know much about their infrastructure. I thought maybe, if you and I collaborated, we'd make a stronger pitch. I blinked. Not because of the offer, but because she was making it like we'd always been a team. As if we had a history of mutual respect and sibling synergy. You want to pitch, together? Well, she said, swirling her coffee like it had secrets. I figure they already trust you. And I can bring the design and comms angle. I think it would be mutually beneficial. That corporate tone she used. Like she was presenting to a board. Not to her brother. I took a breath. Emily, I said, calm and quiet. Do you remember what you said to me the day I fixed your laptop? She blinked. No. You called me useful, not impressive. Then left without a thank you? Her lips tightened. Just a flicker. I didn't mean it like that, she said. You know how I get when I'm stressed. You say what you actually think. She looked annoyed. That's not fair. No, I said. It's accurate. We sat there, the cafe suddenly too quiet. Then I leaned forward. I don't think this is a good idea, I said. Not because I can't work with you, but because I've finally built something that doesn't involve chasing validation. And teaming up with you? That feels like a step backward. She sat back like I'd slapped her with a resume. Well, she muttered. I'm not angry, I added. I just don't need this. Or you. Not in this way. She didn't reply. Eventually she stood up, straightened her jacket, and said, Good luck, Zach. But the tone? That wasn't condescending. That was confused. Later that night, Sean texted me. Hey. Did Emily reach out? She CC'd you on something earlier, then unsent it. I laughed. Yeah. We had coffee. Weird vibes? Let's just say, she's learning I don't just fix screens anymore. The platform went live on a Wednesday. No soft launch. No quiet beta. Just a full-throttle announcement on social media, followed by demo videos, client testimonials, and a glitzy highlight reel featuring snappy music and screenshots of features I had spent the last 2 months fine-tuning at 2 a.m. The startup's post exploded. It got picked up by a mid-tier tech blog. One of the VC partners retweeted it with fire emojis. The comment section was full of phrases like, Finally, someone built this right, and seamless user experience. Sean tagged everyone. Every dev. Every designer. Every consultant. Including me. My name, front and center under the heading. Platform Infrastructure plus Stability Lead, Zach B. That one line changed everything. People I hadn't spoken to since high school reached out. A guy I used to tutor in geometry DM'd me to ask if I was accepting ments. My old boss from the electronics store, the one who once told me to tone it down, sent a polite congratulations. But the best moment? Emily called. I let it ring. She left a voicemail. Hey. Just wanted to say congrats, I guess. Big day. Everyone's talking about it. I didn't realize you'd gotten that far. Her voice sounded weirdly tight. Like she'd swallowed something too big to admit. Then she added, Anyway, I know we didn't end things great last time we talked, but maybe we can catch up soon? I'd love to hear more about what you're doing. Just, yeah? Let me know. Click. Later that night, I checked Facebook. I didn't even know people still used it. But Emily did. She'd posted a status update. Sometimes people you overlook end up surprising you. Keep your eyes open. Proud of certain folks today. No tags. No names. But I knew. And so did everyone in our family chat. Uncle Darren replied with a thumbs-up emoji. Mom commented, So true, Blueheart. I didn't respond. I didn't have to. Because the next morning, my inbox had 2 new messages. One from a recruiter. One from an angel investor. Both had found me through the startup's demo video. At lunch, Sean called. Guess who asked if we're hiring a brand consultant? I didn't even pretend not to know. Emily? Bingo. I sighed. You tell her no? I told her we were moving in a different direction. Which we are. Appreciate it. There was a pause. Then Sean added, You know. I never asked? Are you okay with all this attention? I thought about it. The pings, the offers, the voicemail, the passive-aggressive Facebook wisdom quotes. Yeah, I said. Because for once, I didn't have to scream to be noticed. I just did the work. And because it's driving your sister insane? That's just a bonus. That night, I ordered takeout, sat back on my couch, and opened my laptop to check the error logs from the launch. There were none. It ran smoothly. It ran clean. Like it had been built by someone who wasn't just useful, but necessary. 2 weeks after the launch, I got invited to a networking mixer hosted by one of the VC firms backing the startup. It was in a rooftop lounge. Real grown-up stuff, tiny appetizers, name tags, people saying, Let's circle back. Without irony. I wore my least wrinkled button up and pretended not to be impressed by the skyline view. Sean introduced me to some of the investors. "This is Zach," he said, grinning. "Our not-so-secret weapon." I shook hands, made small talk, didn't spill anything on myself. Already a win. One of the investors asked what my background was, and I gave him the short version. Self-taught. Freelanced. Fell into startup life by accident. "You've got the instincts of someone who's been in this game a lot longer," he said. I don't know what it was, maybe the setting, maybe the suit, but hearing that felt better than any family compliment I'd never received. Then, in the middle of all this, my phone buzzed. A text. From Emily. "Hey. Weird question. Do you still fix screens? My friend dropped her laptop and it won't boot." I just stared at it. This woman had watched me get shouted out in tech blogs. She'd seen me on company posts, LinkedIn tags, group chat praise parades. She knew what I did now. And still. "Do you still fix screens?" It was like asking a chef if they still microwave popcorn. I didn't respond. Instead, I handed my phone to Sean. He read it. Then looked at me. "She serious?" "Very. What are you gonna say?" I took my phone back. "Type." "Not anymore." Then I put the phone away and went back to the rooftop. 3 days later, I got a handwritten card in the mail. From my mom. Front, a cartoon cat holding a tiny laptop. Inside. "Just wanted to say how proud we are. Your dad showed your video to his bowling league. Emily's been quiet lately, haha. Love you? Mom." I put the card on my desk. Next to my new onboarding packet, because Sean had just offered me a lead role. Full-time. Title, Head of Infrastructure. And no one, not Emily, not Mom, not some sad family group chat, could reduce that to useful. Because now, I wasn't just fixing broken stuff. I was building it.